This is the G Podcast with your host, Tommy B.
Hey, what's up, y'all? Welcome to episode 225 of This is the G Podcast. Yes, you know it. I'm Tommy B, and it's a fun week, y'all. Another year around the sun, y'all. Yes, it's my birthday weekend episode. So we're talking Black Music Month 2024, the state of black music, with my buddy, Newsmaker crew member, DJ Talib Shabazz. And you know, each week we do it, y'all. News, politics, pop culture, and that piping hot tea with the one and only Tonya B. This week, Howard U is taking back Puffy's honorary degree. Yeah, she got the report. Plus taking his name off buildings. It's coming up soon. Syracuse Mike has your news update. The Newsmaker crew is back, of course. Talib and me, Tommy B. Buys out this week. So let's go ahead and do it, y'all. Let's do it. Here's news with Syracuse Mike.
News team, assemble!
It's time for the Week in News with Syracuse Mike.
The jury has been seated in the Hunter Biden federal gun trial. First Lady Dr. Jill Biden and Hunter Biden's wife and sister were also present to show support. The president's son is charged with making a false statement during the purchase of a firearm, as well as possession of a firearm by a person who is an unlawful user of or addicted to a controlled substance. If convicted on all counts in Delaware, Biden faces a maximum sentence of 25 years. Mexico has a new president.
Diverso y democrático.
Let's achieve a Mexico that is pluralistic, diverse, and democratic.
Those comments from the new president through an interpreter. Claudia Sheinbaum becomes the country's first female leader. She is the former mayor of Mexico City. President Biden has extended his congratulations. President Biden signed an executive order Tuesday that will temporarily shut down the U.S.-Mexico border to asylum seekers when a daily limit of crossings is exceeded. The order will take effect immediately.
Today, I'm announcing actions to bar migrants who cross our southern border unlawfully from receiving asylum.
The president Tuesday, under the executive order, the administration would shut down asylum requests at the border once the number of daily encounters reaches 2,500 among the legal ports of entry. The border would reopen when that number drops to 1,500. The ACLU says they will sue the administration, stating it was illegal when Trump did it. The state's Court of Appeals has put a pause in place for the 2020 Georgia election interference case involving former President Trump and others. The Wednesday afternoon decision puts everything on hold until the court resolves the appeal involving Fulton County Superior Court Judge Scott McAfee's ruling that DA Fani Willis could stay on the case. It could be March of next year before the appeal's ruling, meaning the election interference case will be on pause until after the November election. Trump and 8 other defendants initially tried to get Willis removed from the case because of the romantic relationship she had with Special Prosecutor Nathan Wade. He is now off the case. And then there's this. Following the ruling by the Court of Appeals concerning Willis, the losing side will be able to appeal that decision to the Georgia Supreme Court. President Biden in Normandy, France, Thursday for a ceremony to honor the American soldiers and allies who fought on D-Day. It was the day troops stormed the shores to liberate Europe from Nazi Germany. The president compared the event from 80 years ago to the challenges of today.
Let us be the generation that when history is written about our time, in 10, 20, 30, 50, 80 years from now, it'll be said, when the moment came, we met the moment. We stood strong. Our alliances were made stronger. We saved democracy in our time as well.
Mr. Biden and Emmanuel Macron, the president of France, marked the anniversary of D-Day by showing their support for Ukraine and President Volodymyr Zelensky, who was also in attendance in Normandy. This year marks perhaps the last major milestone anniversary for many of the invasion's few surviving heroes. The youngest now in their 90s.
Hey, what's up, y'all? Thanks, Mike, for the headlines, man. It's Talib and Tommy B this week. Vi's doing what Vi does, y'all, as always, out there being the mayor, shaking hands, kissing babies, doing his thing. He's hanging out in Forsyth this weekend, man. So
Hey.
shout out to Vi. Before we get into it, this is Black Music Month 2024. You know, Talib always gives me a good update because he's still out there doing his thing, still, you know, in the clubs, connected on the music side. I'm just a what do you call it, a casual curator, you know, and I've always, you know, in the past really wanted to be a journalist and a music journalist. So, you know, I read a lot, keep up with what's going on, check out the streams and see who's hot and who's not. So, you know, we'll have a conversation in Black Music Month 2024 about what's going on. Where are we? What's the state of the music? First, y'all, I got to say thanks to all those who hit me up on social media for the trip around the sun, the birthday wishes, man. Appreciate y'all. Shout outs to everybody who hit me up. And two, in lieu of gifts, don't worry about giving up the gifts, y'all. Just go to the YouTube channel. This is the G Podcast. It's free, absolutely free, no cost, don't cost you nothing. But the podcast, which has always been audio, is now up on video. And I don't want to lose all the audio side to leave because, people have been following me for years and doing the audio side, but the video's there. So it's a tricky, how it is? It's tricky because you don't want people to just abandon the audio side because a lot of people work out, they listen in the car. But in the meantime, you also got to grow the YouTube, and right. It's a balance, delicate.
Yes. Yeah, and you have to remember that you're always being filmed, so no picking your nose.
That's what I'm saying, and I don't always get that. Right. You know what I'm saying? So all you have to do is basically look for is the G Podcast. That's the full podcast name. This is the G Podcast. Go to YouTube, even if you don't watch it every week, and you just listen to it. Just subscribe. We just need to get the numbers up so we can hang out on YouTube and be a part of it. Because I've kind of not done a lot of promotion for the YouTube. So, but it's been okay. It's been okay. It's been a decent thing. If you don't see the YouTube channel when you search, just go to castropolis.net, our website. Just go there, and the YouTube is actually there. It's embedded, so you can just click it. You can just click it when you see it when you go on the page and subscribe from there. Okay.
It's a good looking website too.
Appreciate you, man. Thank you, sir. We try. And Talib is connected, still doing his thing, still in the clubs, still listening actively to the music. I'm very passive, kind of, curating old stuff, classic stuff I grew up on, and then, keeping up with the newer music through just reading and journalism. But it's Black Music Month 2024, and annually we have a conversation about where we are musically. I think that's an important question. I still hear, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, I'd say still kind of floats to the top. But, she's also diverse. Yes. So she's doing country this year. You don't hear her music on radio.
Right.
Because it's more so country and I guess some of y'all play it in the clubs. You play any of the Beyonce album currently?
I actually play we have a remix done by Def Jeff for the Texas Hold'em that's using the Atomic Dog sample that I run pretty regularly. Cool. I
know that keeps him out there.
Oh yeah. It's Atomic Dog, Oh yeah. Somebody's gonna
when ain't nobody on the floor play Atomic Dog. There you go. Right. And on the rap side, on the hip hop side, it seems like from what I see, the female rappers continue to kind of float to the top.
Yeah.
But Talib, where are we, man? I mean, that's the big question. I saw an article in Newsweek, and I want to mention this, came out June 1st. And they were talking about that hip hop's popularity is down from where it was. I think the peak was 2018 when it had a market share of about 28.6. And now it's down to about 26%. There's some slippage. Still at the top, but, they look at that still, when you talk about billions, 2% is significant. So where are we, man? Where are we with music?
Well, I'll tell you, Tommy, I saw a reel or a short on one of these social media channels the other day where a female MC, I believe it was Nicki Minaj, that was the one who was talking. So she was basically saying that, right now we have more of a popularity contest going on than a talent pool, so it's the argument of talent versus popularity has always been there, because of artists like Pat Boone and all these other biters.
Damn, you went way back.
I mean, well, he was one of the original. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's how long the argument has been going on, because you have a Pat Boone remake of Tutti Frutti that sounds like it was completely whitewashed, literally. And so it's always been there.
Yeah.
But the point that I believe Nicki was making was that, at least in our day, the people who were there deserved to be there. because they were talented. And then the popularity contest started to see if we could maintain this person's presence, you know. But right now, you know, the talent is not there like it was, you know, 10, 15, 20 years ago. You know, and I'm not just trying to make this a sexy red argument, you know, especially when it comes to the hip hop, because really at the end of the day, she's just a girl who's having fun. You know what I mean?
In a very different kind of way.
Exactly. You know, I mean, we can go back and forth about subject matter and delivery not necessarily being what we'd like to see, or that showcases the best of what we have to offer. Right. But at the same time, it's young. It's young music. It's, you know, it's definitely just for having fun. And all of these things have a place. I think that what really hurts us is the fact that we don't necessarily have a great balance.
Yeah,
you know,
absolutely.
You know, we've always had, you know, guys who couldn't necessarily rap that were considered to be rappers. You know, Busy B was a famous one. He always came in, and half the time he's on stage, he's asking people what's their favorite restaurant. You know, just a call and response kind of thing. So I'm saying all that to say that where we are right now is we are at a point where we should, as fans of music, start demanding just a little more thought, time, and effort into the musics that's being put out by the people that we're backing, either financially or through our time. You know, and I don't think that's a lot to ask for. You know, one thing that I do want to mention was that, you know, there was also at Method Man's social media. He performed with Redman at New York Summer Jam for Hot 97. And his comment was, you know, thanks to Pete and Ebro for helping us, but I'll never do this again. You know, the age gap is too big. And, you know, you know, and for New York, you know, again, growing up in New York, being the birthplace of hip hop,
the home of hip hop snobbery.
It's truly hip hop snobbery. But, you know, I would never think that there would be a time where Redman and Method Man would feel like the audience wasn't into them. You know what I mean? I mean, New York, the Wu-Tang Clan put New York on their back.
I know.
And carried New York at a time where, you know, East Coast rap wasn't happening. Yeah. You know, so, you know, for that kind of statement to be made, for that
that's
kind
crazy.
of
but it makes sense, you know, when you look at the landscape right now. And you know, it's interesting you say that, because for me, and I was thinking back, you know, for this conversation, man, and also, you know, my birthday, and I am really, man, blessed to have seen in concert like Earth, Wind and Fire, James Brown, Stevie. I've seen Anita multiple times. I've seen, you know, Luther. I mean, you know, I've seen the Barcades. I've seen a lot of, you know, Switch. I've seen a lot of my favorite R&B artists and hip hop artists in concert. I've seen Sade, you know. So when concerts come to town, you know, a lot of my friends get really excited about going to see them, and they say, "Hey, man, you going?" And I'm like, "Nah, not really." and they ask me, say, "Damn, man, you don't never run to these concerts." I'm like, because it's a letdown. Yeah. You know, when I compare the experience back then to when I go now, it's just never close to what I saw. When I saw Earth, Wind and Fire, the All in All tour, and that's when David Copperfield was doing their set. This is when they did the levitating bass with Verdine, you know, when it was like, you know, it was just amazing. It was like you saw a show. It was like Vegas out there. You know, I've seen Parliament Funkadelic. I've seen the landing of the mothership. You know, 1,000 people on stage. Right. You know, so it's like, for me, I'm joking about the 1,000. Who may not know. It felt like everybody in the old school Omni back in Atlanta was also on the stage with Parliament Funkadelic. But I'm just saying, man, it was just, when I tell you, and when I first saw, this is why I'm such a fan of, of course, Bobby, Tommy DeBarge. And the DeBarge came from, of course, they were the brothers of
right.
DeBarge.
And sisters, right.
And sisters. When I first saw Switch, I saw Switch in concert with the Barkays. What is it? It was a crazy, it was like Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince. It was like, like a mishmash. I was just, we'd heard the songs on the radio, but when we saw them in concert, it was like, damn, how can these guys were better than what we heard on the radio?
Yes.
So it even to this day, I respect them more when I because of what I saw.
Right.
Today's concerts, there are very few concerts I want to go to.
Well, see, Tommy, I think that's number one.
I was spoiled.
Yeah, that's it. And see, it's funny because it's the difference that 6 years make. Because I think there's about 6 years difference between you and I.
Mm-hmm.
So, when you're talking about what you've seen, I remember cousins and aunts and uncles talking about going.
Yeah.
I was living in Houston when the mothership came, for that show. But I was, of course, too young to go. So, it was...
Hey, you know what? When I saw James Brown, I was too young.
Yeah.
And all I saw was like kneecaps and smoke. You know how it was back in the day.
Yeah, but but again, I think that it's the way I like to put it is it's a feeling.
Yeah.
And when you go to shows, you're looking for a certain feeling to be conveyed from the performer to you and then you back to the performer.
Yeah.
So, you've got that real symbiotic relationship.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw the recent, Tom Joyner cruise, but, Larry Blackmon came out to perform.
Yeah.
And I was just looking.
Cameo. And
I've seen, yes.
Go ahead. I saw that clip you were talking about. Go ahead, and because for the audience, people may not know about it, but go ahead. I've seen Cameo.
For Larry Blackmon to come out there assisted and basically sing, from a seated position.
Yeah.
He's not working the neck. He's not, that cameo. I mean, it was like.
Not the no red cod piece.
Right. No, thank you. I would have been annoyed if 78-year-old Larry Blackmon got up there with the cod piece. You know what I mean? But I'm just saying, it's, we got Frankie Beverly retiring, these, and it's, it's a piece. We will never be able to get those feelings back.
And just one more, man. I see the Alexander O'Neal performances, and I'm like, God, I'm glad I saw these guys when they were at their peak.
Right.
So
that's the thing. I was talking to a sister the other day, and I was telling her that even as a DJ, I'm a DJ, but I'm a dancer.
Yeah.
My mother was a dancer, professional dancer. I've been on stage since her womb, since I was in the womb. But not every DJ is going to pull the dancer out of me. And it's the same feeling in concerts. We have performers, and we know these songs, we love these songs. That's the reason why we're there. But what's being expressed on stage isn't necessarily bringing that feeling out of you. And it comes along with age. But when we look at, it's funny how we have our times. My mother's time, my mother was a doo-wop girl. So when she watches, all of the, excuse me, when she'll watch all those, concerts on PBS with the Drifters coming out and the Coasters, and, these guys are 3 generations from the original members, but they're still performing the steps. The songs still sound the same, and their voices are good. So we can deal with it. Yeah. We look at, the big thing when I was in Vegas was tribute bands. So, I mean, there was a tribute band for everybody. The Beatles, even Kid Rock had a tribute band, complete with a midget. So, a little person. So, that, and we are all trying to get these feelings back, but sometimes it's just not expressed. I mean, sometimes it just doesn't make the translation. And, there's really nothing we can do about it.
The only group I've seen that's been able to pull that off has been Bruno Mars. From the Super Bowl halftime performance to the video stuff, what is it? 24 Karat album. What's the big song, man?
Uptown Funk.
Uptown Funk.
Yeah.
Which everybody was, you talking about from kids to 70-year-olds.
Yeah.
Were into that song.
Yes.
And then they came back with the Silk Sonic.
Right. Which
vibe,
is crazy.
Which just, again, Bruno's been able to do it. I don't know who else. I mean, but Bruno came from that he grew up doing that. He did Elvis.
Exactly.
He knew how to, basically command attention from being another artist when he was doing the Michael Jackson impersonation. He knows how to do that.
Right.
I don't know if anybody else does that because it's just not musical anymore. For me. And when I say that, I was having another conversation about generations. I mean, we're talking about the grandparents now,
right,
of kids grew up on hip hop. So you got, for the most part, when we were growing up, we were that original first gen.
We were the first wave. Yeah.
Yeah. And then now you've got, where we are, the grandparents. We're, either grandparents
right.
of the kids. We were in the car.
That's crazy you would think about.
So we might have been in the car with a mix of. I may have been in the car. I was in the car with with my kids with the mix of R&B and some hip hop.
Right.
But I'm an anomaly because I listen to everything.
Mm-hmm.
But for the most part, when you look at my cousins, my young cousins may have been part of that New Edition generation. That was their generation. Their kids are pure hip hop, and their kids have kids. So, it just kind of pushes further away from, R&B.
Yeah.
Because, I'm not going to go down the R&B is dead route because you still see a lot of names. Even Chris Brown is still out there, doing his thing. Recently this week, I think a lot of people said Chris Brown is over, but he's still doing sellout shows. People still love Chris Brown. He does a hell of a concert.
Yeah. I can actually run an hour's worth of Chris Brown probably, and nobody would be annoyed.
Yeah, that's
my
point.
I mean?
So who can you do that for now? You mentioned Chris Brown. Can you do a set? Because back in the day, you could just go a full set back to back.
Yeah.
Of an artist.
I mean, really, the artist that you could still run a set like that with, you're still playing recurrence. You know. Lil Wayne, Jay-Z, you know what I mean? People like that you could do sets with. But, as much as I like Glorilla, no. I mean, the catalog is either you don't have the catalog or you don't have the music in the catalog. You know what I mean? Yeah. To really do something like that. And the thing, with what's going on today, today's music doesn't have the same grooves. So as a DJ, if you're trying to really establish a dance groove, a vibe, you're definitely going recurrent.
So let me mention this to you, and you said groove, and just for the audience sake, when we DJ, you would do maybe if you did a set, you might start your set, and we do tempo and what we call beats per minute.
Right.
We may start a beats per minute on the lower end and then progressively take it up.
Right.
In a lot of cases, a lot of these artists, they're in the same groove. Every song might only be 101, which is slow, or even slower. And you wind up just staying like a monotone.
Exactly.
Whereas some artists, if you were back in the day, you doing a set and you do a Michael Jackson or you do a Prince, you may start, Doves Cry and get all the way up to shit, Let's Go Crazy, if you're in a different kind of club, or a Michael Jackson, you may start from Human Nature and get all the way up to, Wanna Be Starting Something or PYT. You don't get that groove with the current artist because everything is in the basically same tempo.
Yeah. And then DJs don't necessarily blend in the same manner as well. So the presentation, hip hop has always been kind of about the quick mix. Because of break beats. You've got, 4 measures or 8 measures of music to try and capture. And then you move on to the next song that has 4 or 8 measures, right? You're
not blending.
No, this is straight slam mix.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
So with DJs these days, they don't necessarily blend in the same manner. They use the microphone and slams as transitions, as opposed to just a smooth transition from song to song during a break. People, after years of, listening to music like this, I find it difficult sometimes to pull people up on the floor because I'm not yelling at them every 5 minutes, telling them to have a good time. Or
is that a regional thing, or you think just overall?
Nah, it's a wave. It's been the wave for the last few years, and now it's just at a point where even the older people, you've got to, you have to, when we were coming up, I never talked on the mic. There was no need. My record spoke for me. Anything I wanted to say was, no, that's not. You have to talk to people. And I don't mind. I'm not saying that as it's a bad thing. What I'm saying is it's a difference. So the way that we play, if you're going to still be out here doing stuff, you have to give people a little bit more of what they're looking for, as well as what you want to present them. There are DJs who can literally get away with running the same mix every week. And people don't necessarily mind. People might actually even start singing along.
What's the age range? What's the age range you're seeing right now that you're playing for?
Well, the place that I play, my residency is at a restaurant called Sage, and it's a little higher end. It's by Perimeter Mall. So the people that I'm seeing are definitely between like 35 and 50.
So are they asking for the what do you call it? The line dance
shit too. No, the line dance. Yeah, line dance always works. You know what I mean? Yeah. But the what I'm noticing is, even though the place that I play has a designated dance floor, most people are now in lounge mode, and lounge mode means you're sitting at your table, you just get up, or your section, and you just get up where you are and have fun right there. And again, there's nothing wrong with that. I think that both can work, but. I know me. I am not a slam DJ. I'm gonna hold songs. I want to hear the groove. I want to hear the blend. I want these two songs to come in together, and you're like, hey, is that? Like when the song starts and you're listening, you're like, I think that's so and so, or you start singing it, and you're like, oh yeah, that sounds good right there. Yeah. Those are the feels that I want. And that's kind of the way I can't really get away from that kind of programming. So now I just kind of interject, I don't really, like I said, I don't really like to talk on the mic. So, I'll say the record. That's one way for me to get my voice into the audience so that they feel my energy. But I'm not necessarily, hey, yo, it's the Talib Shabazz. I don't really do that too much.
What's his name out of New York? There's a couple of them.
Yeah, there's a lot. All of them out of New York. All of them out of New York yell at you. They're the ones that started it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but yeah, to go back to your original question, the state of Black music. It needs a little help. It needs a little injection. What I do like is the fact that there are really no gatekeepers on the music right now.
So the labels don't control.
There's no way. I mean, they'll have, their people that they're paying for, in terms of ad support and tour support, that kind of stuff. But, I mean, really, if you have enough desire and time, you as a listener have the desire and the time to go out and search for the music that you like, it's there.
Yeah.
There is somebody who's right now making the kind of music that you want to hear. But you're not going to find them, through the traditional means. You're going to have to look for them. And then, people like Snow Allegra, once they've done that bubbling under thing, then radio accepts them and welcomes them in the way that it should be, So but we need some help. Just like the Black community. The state of the Black community is the same as the state of Black music right now. We need a little more thought. We need a little more time and effort. And we need people who care.
Well, let me ask you, Talib, if you had like unlimited budget, if somebody said to you, hey man, we could just, we're just in it for the culture. We got a ton of money. All we want to do is chart a course and we're just going to give you the budget. Do you think? And this is probably something you'd have to think out long term, but just in the, for the sake of the podcast,
right?
The quickie podcast, right? Moment. What would you do if somebody said, "Here's a ton of money, create a path"? Right. What would you do? If you could go out and kind of build a roster.
Yeah, I would definitely start to get to some more of these talent shows, open mic stuff, because that's still going to be the best place for people to get experience. And you need to see what people's presence is like. And
not just the YouTube.
Right, exactly.
Or the, whatever this
the video. Right.
Yeah, TikTok. Yeah.
And then I'd probably try and find venues who were going to be friendly to what I was trying to do in order to create a Chitlin Circuit type tour. Where we could keep costs low. We could, and encourage people to come out by having, local opening acts and stuff like that. It's still about putting artists in front of people. And a lot of this would, I'd go back to just some basic street promotion type stuff, because the word of mouth is still the best means to talk about anything. And the more people you have talking about it, the more people are going to gravitate towards it. So, it'd be a whole lot of, I'd be out the back of the trunk again, with the posters and the flyers. But this time the flyers would have QR codes on. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
But it's still the same process. Look, people have a product. They want to get it out there. How do you market the product? But where we spend the monies would be a little bit different.
Got you. So from my standpoint, man, and I look at it from a radio standpoint, and for the most part, I still see, because I pay attention to which radio stations are on top, right? And it's still interesting to me that the demand right now is for the older stations, because and that's not from me just saying it because I'm in that demographic. Right. I look at the ratings.
Yeah.
So in most markets right now, what we call the urban adult stations are kicking all the other Black stations' ass. I mean, the hip hop stations are nowhere near where the hip hop stations were in the 90s when they first launched. And that's probably just a matter of why, how people use radio and who's using radio.
Exactly.
But
on radio, you're not going to hear the dirty versions. What I mean?
You're not going to hear the dirty version.
So it's
the
like,
team's not going to spend a whole lot of time there because they can get it somewhere else.
Right.
Yeah, the younger end, or even, for the most part, because, it's been so long.
Right.
The people who grew up on the dirty versions,
yeah,
they want to hear the original.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
exactly.
So where are we going, man? I mean, I hear your plan.
Mm-hmm.
And it makes sense. I mean, it's taking a little of the old school, Motown, A&R.
Yeah, exactly.
Approach. You don't want somebody to do a record. It's just like for me. Okay, here's an example. and I was reading Ice Spice is finally coming out with an album. I'm like, damn, and she's been out like 2 years, right? And she's not done an album. And a lot of these artists come out with a single and they just milk it. The singles, it's not an album generation.
No.
It's built on singles. A lot of these artists don't tour on singles. On albums. So when I heard Ice Spice was just coming out with a new album, I said, her first album.
Yeah.
This is her first album.
Right.
And I thought, I'm like, damn, she's been out a couple of years, right? I mean,
well, again, man, this is, hip hop gave us the mixtape, and then the industry changed the mixtape from actually being songs that are mixed in a mixed format to basically an album that's not an album.
Okay.
So
it's not too more EP.
Right, exactly. Ice Spice has had product out. She's had more, she's had a couple of mixtapes, but people don't count the mixtape, even though the mixtape is formatted like an album.
Yeah.
So what do we do? Again, that's how something that sounds so ridiculous can happen right now.
Because somebody had said, Cardi hadn't done an album in 6 years?
Yeah.
Is that the case?
Yeah, but she's been on, she's done many mixes, and she's, Cardi is still one of the top choice for features. Yeah. So yeah, she can still keep her voice out there without necessarily needing an album, which is, which doesn't really make a whole lot of sense to me at this point,
So grade the state of black music.
What's my scale?
A to F.
It's a strong C. It's a song that's a C plus, B minus. Because again, it's not that there isn't music out there. There are always new artists coming out. And there's always we're always going to need a new hit record. Yeah. Commercials need hit records. Advertising, any kind of advertising needs hit record. We're always looking for a new song.
Yeah.
But, again, it's just that it's a little more difficult for people to break through for the talented people to break through, because there is so much mediocre that you have to swim through in order to get it. So I'd say a C plus, B minus.
Yeah, I give it, and this is me, not trying to be an ageist and pulling away from my past experience.
Right.
And I give it around a C, and the reason I give it a C is I just feel it's not musical enough.
Yeah.
That's the problem. The problem I have with music, today's music, is it's not musical enough. And what I mean by that is, I think the more musical an artist is, and what I mean by that is a trained musical artist, whether they're on the hip hop side or the R&B side, because it thrills me when I see an artist sit down behind the piano. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Or even when I see like Lizzo, love her or hate her, pull out her flute,
right,
and starts going off.
Yeah.
I think the more musical exposure an artist has, or the more training, the longer their career.
Yes.
They can expand their career.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of these artists have no musical. A lot of these, I hate to say it, like a lot of these female rappers who are out here doing their thing, they have no musical training at all. They have never been, other than, just rapping over lyrics.
Yeah.
So I do think that the more musical training, even if they were drummers, you know what I'm saying? And that comes down to maybe getting the music back in school. So I think the key to black music is going to be music, the music side of it.
Yeah.
Because pop has started to kind of wean itself off hip hop. And you're seeing more, like you look at Taylor Swift, who's a more musical artist.
Right.
You look at a lot of these, I hate them, but they are as big as ridiculously big. These K-pop groups that are coming out, all they are is a ripoff of the boy bands.
Right.
But they're going out there musically.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? Or
totally.
You see Harry Styles and some of these artists who are coming out,
Yeah.
What was the big band that he was? I forgot the group that he was a part of.
Yeah.
The pop has done it. Country continues to do it.
Country is the only one still consistently doing it.
Musical,
yeah.
And
I've
we're not musical enough, and that's my concern when it comes down to to black music. It's just the music, your craft, the craft of it. Your craft can't be Pro Tunes, or
right.
I mean, what is Auto Tune,
right?
And Pro Tools.
Yeah,
that can't be strictly your craft. You know what I'm saying?
Definitely.
I think the more musical you are, the more you're able to extend your career, and that's what concerns me about black music going forward. Is like how musical are you? So
right.
I challenge the artist, man, get some, learn how to play something.
Yeah.
That's why I was such a big fan of Prince, because he played everything. Stevie, he played everything.
Right.
A lot of these artists, man, came out of the box, or even her. When I look at her, is incredible. When her ability to play guitar and piano, and even Alicia Keys challenged with the voice, but she's still a musician. You know what I'm saying? So I just think we got to be more musical, man.
For sure.
Right.
And
I'll give you the last word, bro. Go ahead.
I just would like to see, to me, it doesn't matter where you start either.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If you want to, you look at somebody like a Scarface.
Yeah.
Scarface started as just a rapper. Then he got into production. And then he got into, playing guitar. So now when he goes out with a band and he's playing lead guitar.
Yeah.
Again, there's room to grow. And I just would love to see, my thing is, again, I don't care where you enter from. I just want to see growth while you're here.
Yeah.
And
it can't just be shock value.
No. That does, it only, that's the thing, that is a very temporary thing. And I don't want to see our people still in 2024 doing temporary things. We have to look at what is best for the long run and make moves towards that.
But let me say this, and I'm gonna end my side with this. When Newsweek does the article on the 28% in 2018 share where rap was to where it is now at about 26, where the erosion, I think part of the erosion is, I think how do you say it? I think the industry has been driven by shock value too long. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And I think it has to get back to, again, the musical side, because everybody's more willing to embrace the musical side.
Right.
That doesn't just include R&B, that's hip hop and R&B, versus the shock value, because I think a lot of these, that's why country has maintained, because it's always embraced the musical side.
Yeah. But I'll say this too, Tommy, in terms of just the percentage thing, you have a lot of musics that could be classified as hip hop that are not necessarily hip hop.
Yeah.
So, you've got like the dubstep trap music, which is, considered EDM. That's hip hop.
Yeah.
But just, with different sounds. Afro beats is hip hop.
Yeah.
But it's classified as Afro beats because of the people that are doing it. So, it's a certain amount of dilution that's actually happening as well that would take some of that market share away from the big picture, in order to, justify the narrative, because
and you know what? It's exactly what happened to rock.
Yeah.
And I just don't want hip hop to go down the same path that rock has gone, because, rock is rock has taken a big hit.
Yeah.
Probably in terms of, there's some genres that have disappeared in music. Like, nobody plays new wave anymore. You know what I'm saying? There's certain aspects or genres or categories of music that don't exist anymore. Rock exists, but rock is nowhere nowhere close to where it was in the 70s and 80s. And I just don't want to see hip hop go down that same path because of exactly what you're saying. You've got, hip hop is definitely splintered, it's fragmented.
Right, exactly.
And the more fragmented it gets, what people consider core hip hop loses that because, that's dubstep, that's EDM.
Right.
No, that's not, that's Afrobeat.
Right.
That's not hip hop. So, hip hop's going to take a hit because of the fragmentation. So I don't want to, but rock has done that.
Right.
You got, exactly.
Yeah.
When you had the pure 80s, you got the hair bands, then you had, grunge,
right.
Then you
emo and
you have emo.
Other,
Oh yeah. You got so many different categories of rock to the point where it was so watered down, you couldn't play one facet of it and keep everybody happy.
Right.
Yes. So now the biggest thing is the classic stuff because everybody can agree.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
All right, love your feedback, y'all. Go to castropolis.net again. Go to castropolis.net, positive and negative. Love your feedback, y'all. Also, if you have any comments, you want to leave us some feedback, hit the people poll. You can leave us a voice message, man, and we'll play back the best. Again, appreciate you, Talib Shabazz, for jumping on, man. Valuable insight. Hopefully, man, the industry will continue to thrive.
Oh, it will, because again, man, there's always got to be that next song. So we're always going to have new music. It's just a matter of what we got.
We got.
Right.
Yeah. All right, y'all. Thanks again. Thanks, Talib Shabazz. Coming up next time, your B has your T. Appreciate you, man.
Peace.
More. This is the G Podcast after the break.
It's time for tea.
It's tea time, y'all. Sippin' the tea with Tonya B.
Yes, children, it is time for tea. It's your girl, Tonya B, with your weekly dose of the GT Entertainment News headlines. First, we have to say rest in peace, sleep in power to Brother Marcus of the 2 Live crew. We all know they shook it up. Late 80s, early 90s with songs like, oh, me so horny, oh, me so horny. Yeah, remember them? Yes. He's the second member of the group to pass away, so I guess all we got now is Uncle Luke. Shake what your mama gave ya. Prayers up also for a speedy recovery to B.J. Thompson of the Kansas City Chiefs. He was in a team meeting, seizure, cardiac arrest. Now I hear he's stable and alert, and we wish him a speedy recovery. He's really young, like in his 20s, Tommy B. The Mike Tyson-Jake Paul fight has been postponed until the fall. It should just be canceled. We are not here for the foolishness. Mike Tyson, you don't need the money. Jake Paul probably needs the money. And Netflix is just being greedy. Michael Jackson's daughter, Paris, she hit a real rough patch in her personal life. She had some issues with cutting, severe depression. And then she tried to buck up with Janet, and Janet was like, oh, no, little girl, I'm going to take you out to the woodshed. Well, I saw a video of her talking with, of all people, Willow Smith, about how her family is shunning her because of her choice of lifestyle. I think if Michael Jackson were alive, he would love her unconditionally. She's not out here raping, robbing, murdering, or ripping people off. She ain't ripping off nobody. But the Jacksons are Jehovah's Witnesses. But I just think, you know what? Love your children, please. Hold them close to your chest, whatever the case may be. I'm sure she's a wonderful young lady with a great heart. Janet Jackson back on tour. The new Together Again tour has kicked off. I hear it is everything. The stage changes 20 times. I don't know how many times she changes her costume. Special effects will give you life. And again, her opening act is Nelly, making it hot in her. I'm just saying. Kanye West, we don't talk about Kanye, but he's being sued by his OnlyFans model turned assistant, former assistant, for sexual harassment. I saw some of those text messages. They are just, You ought to be ashamed of yourself. And singer-songwriter, Grammy Award winner, actually, The-Dream. He's being sued for rape and sex assault as well. He messy as all outdoors. Even though he wrote hits, Rihanna's Umbrella and Beyonce's Single Ladies and Cuff It, he got a bunch of kids, a bunch of ex-wives, a bunch of baby mamas. He needed to get it together. Oh my goodness. Oh, Bad Boys 4, Tommy B. Tommy B, Ride or Die is everything. I'm not going to give you a spoiler alert. All I'll say is look for the character named Reg. That's all I got to say. Kim Porter's death investigation is probably about to be reopened, Tommy B. It only takes 100 signatures to do so, and there's so much speculation now about how she died. You know, Al B. Sure said Diddy did it. But all I got to say is Howard University took back the honorary degree. They took his name off the building. They even gave him back the money he was gifting to the school. And he also had to sell his interests to pay his legal bills and all those lawsuits, I'm sure, from Revolt TV. Now the employees are the owners of the company. I wonder if they will drop Young Miami show, Carisha Please, that Diddy put on the network. Tisha Campbell, she's really been through it, but she's always worked. People love her. Back before the days when she portrayed Martin Lawrence's fiance or wife, Gina, on The Martin Show. Well, she's now said the reason why she looked bloated and overweight is because of the steroids and the medication that she takes for sarcoidosis. That is what killed Bernie Mac. She said, well, after she divorced Dwayne Martin, her health improved, her stress level went down, and she's going to keep working. She has a movie on TV June 16th. Dwayne Martin is engaged to marry a woman a little more than half his age. I'll just say she probably has more benefits and more money in the bank than him, allegedly. Grammy winner Stephanie Mills taking a break from touring to go back to her roots on Broadway. For the month of July, she'll be starring in a play called Hades Town. Tyler Perry's new movie, Straw, on Netflix, the story of a woman who falls on hard times and how she gets out of that hole, stars Taraji P. Henson, Tiana Taylor, Sherry Shepherd. The best thing about it is that he wrote a special role in the movie for Sinbad, who's been battling back from a stroke from, I think, 2016. So 5 on it to Tyler Perry. Off the chain, wasted talent singer Jaguar Wright. What is it with her? She got arrested down in Texas for not returning a U-Haul. You can get arrested for not returning a rental vehicle. Some people say, allegedly, she was living in it, but Jill Scott did a clapback at the Roots picnic last week. Now, Rihanna, I don't know if she's ever going to make music anymore. She's had a very multi-million or billion-dollar line with the whole Fenty thing, and y'all better get ready for Fenty hair. Some people want to say, is she trying to copy off Beyonce? Because her sacred hairline is doing very, very well. That's all I got. Ain't got no more. It's your girl, Tonya B, sipping this GT right here on This Is the G Podcast. Check us out every day on social media. Check out the YouTube channel. Like, share, subscribe, and remember, you can check out the Birdwire, Castropolis.net on demand. All right, Tommy B, you got it.
Thanks, Tanya B. Thanks, Vi, Talib, author and political analyst Harold Michael Harvey. Thanks to the crew, of course, Millennial Nick, Lady J, Regia, music by K-Dub, all those who help us make it happen every single week. Subscribe, y'all. Go ahead, turn on notifications. That'll let you know when the new episodes hit. And again, big thanks for all the birthday wishes again. Give the gift of YouTube, y'all, in 2024 for the rest of 2024. We need subscribers on YouTube. Yeah, we got to pay attention to the YouTube page now. Need subscribers, just go to This Is the G Podcast on YouTube. If you can't find it on YouTube, just go to our Castropolis.net website, click the embedded YouTube video, and then you can just go ahead and subscribe there, okay? All right, y'all, with that, episode 225 is in the can. Have a great week. Peace and power to the people.
You've been listening to This Is the G Podcast. And This Is the G Podcast is a production of the Castropolis Podcast Network. Thanks for listening.